Hudson, and political editor at HuffPost UK, Kevin Schofield. Welcome back to both of you. As we've been reflecting on in the last couple of hours, the newspaper's dominated inevitably by the war in Iran. And you want to take us inside the Daily Mail to kick us off, Kevin, a double-page spread here reflecting on what Donald Trump said to Iran. Basically, he won't accept anything but unconditional surrender.
Yeah, I mean, he's laying it on the line, really, for them. But, I mean, I think it just shows the evolving, if you're being kind, you say the evolving American position on this. You know, he wasn't saying this at the very beginning a week ago. The position has changed on it several times in the last 7 days, I think. But there's one thing that I kind of made my heart sink a little bit was he has vowed to make Iran great again. You think, one, get some new partner, really. I mean, he's just, how many does make forever great again? Gaza great again, that was the other one. And this idea that you can just impose a sort of Western-style democracy on a country in the Middle East that, you know, hasn't had it. I thought we'd maybe learnt our lesson from Iraq. That was the plan in Iraq, and that didn't go to plan. He's already trying to do the same in Gaza, you know, talking about making it, you know, a holiday destination on the Mediterranean and everything. And you just think, well, one, how are you meant to do all of this? You know what I mean? While he's supposed to be running his own country as well. He's at Venezuela. They say they're running Venezuela as well. You talk about spreading yourself thinly. You just don't understand how he can possibly...
And it is the mixed message, isn't it? Because whether or not he wants a democracy, whether or not he wants someone from the inside, I think yesterday he actually said someone from the inside who brings peace and harmony would be fine. So that would keep the regime in place.
Yeah, but a week ago he was telling the Iranian people, you know, this is your chance, you know, rise up, install your own leader. And then, you know, yesterday he had his meeting with his evangelicals, and he now is a huge fan of religious people. You know, this kind of, the mercurial nature of this man makes this whole situation, which is already so complicated, just incredibly confusing.
He seems to have a very short attention span.
Yes, certainly that.
And the latest from the White House is it could go on for 4 to 6 weeks, they're saying, but whether or not that time frame will shift as well, we'll have to wait and see.
Seems quite optimistic, I think.
Yeah. Move us on to the Times, though, Becca, because there was a story here that took your interest of, you know, maybe something slightly more positive.
Yeah.
The relentless gloom of it.
Exactly. I thought it was really interesting. So it's Purim, which is a Jewish festival, and so lots and lots of Israelis sheltering across Israel in fancy dress, and these two young Israeli guys have created this app called Hooked, where you can find out who is sharing your shelter with you, and, you know, and potentially strike up a friendship or more. You know, the fact is, you know, lots and lots of these young people, you know, are spending huge amounts of time cowering, you know, from airstrikes and air sirens. And 3 people have already met a match, which I think is kind of an astounding. I'd quite like to use this app myself. Sounds pretty successful. And also, you know, kind of as the mother of invention, this new app called The Best Time to Shower, where based on kind of when the air raids have been sounding, an app that tells you when's the best time to shower, so you don't have to kind of, you know, run to the shelter in your dressing gown or your towel. You know, and just remembering, you know, that there are people on all sides of this whose lives are being disrupted. And this must be terrifying to be, you know, spending so much time cowering from a war. But the idea that these young people are sort of trying to sort of make the most of it, I thought was sort of reminiscent of Blitz spirit.
It's just extraordinary that, you know, it has to be sort of factored into daily life that you will at some point have to run down to a bomb shelter because there are missiles raining down.
Yeah, we just can't really get our heads around it, can we?
Yeah, and in so many countries.
But I mean, it's incredibly inventive, isn't it? And they say when life gives you lemons, make lemonade, so it's something like that. Something nice can come of it, hopefully.
Let's move on to other issues. Becca, was it you that picked this out?
This is basic. You want to talk about it all morning?
I want to talk about it all morning.
This is about Meghan cutting ties with Netflix.
She's cut ties with Netflix, and I just thought the tone of all this coverage has been so kind of, you know, smug, and that, like, you know, Meghan's messed it up agagen. She obviously had that $100 million deal with Netflix to make the documentaries. They also then funded...
Reportedly. I don't know if we knew, do we?
Well, I don't know where all this money's coming from otherwise. And she had that great show, you know, about kind of, you know, sprinkling flowers on sandwiches and making balloon arches, and she's now got her range of jam, you know, balloon arches.
Do you know, it's the flower sprinkles that threw me, actually. I was looking up what the products were. Jam, rosé,
edible flowers,
shortbread. I've been using one flower very usefully. And flower sprinkles, I didn't know what they were. But
sort of, you get these edible flowers that you can put on everything from a sandwich to a trifle. But they've parted company, so Netflix are now no longer kind of supporting her endeavour. She's going her own way. She says it's because they kind of put a ceiling on her ambition, which I'm choosing to believe. There are also reports that her show didn't even make it into the top 300 most viewed shows in 2025,
300.
which I find hard to believe because I watched it so many times. I think we need to fact check that one as well. But it's always so gleeful, isn't it, when something goes maybe a bit wrong for the House of Sussex. But I'm a big Meghan fan.
So, is she making money still, though? She's going to do her own thing, right?
Going on launch for her brand.
Yes,
right.
it keeps selling out.
Yeah.
You're not clearly buying the products, but maybe you'll buy some edible flowers later.
Maybe I will.
Archie something. Is it named after her kids, the brand?
Archwell.
No, Archwell's the foundation. That's all right.
That's what I know. Sorry about
You
that.
haven't tried the jam, though, have you?
No, it keeps selling out.
I was thinking about jam the other day. Anyway.
I think you're very hungry, aren't you?
Yes, that's clearly the message that's coming through. Talk to us about Dachshunds, if you could. This is in the Telegraph.
Yeah, so Crufts is going on at the moment, and it's quite a sad story, this. So I didn't realise this, that long-haired Dachshunds, or Dachshunds, are very trendy. Lots of famous celebrities have them, and they put them on TikTok, etc. And this has obviously led to an explosion in demand for the dogs. However, that in turn leads to backstreet breeders trying to produce them en masse at a cheap price. But it means that they don't carry out the necessary health checks, which store up problems for the future. And they're saying here that it could mean the end of the breed, which would be
really sad.
Sad, isn't it? Because they're such beautiful creatures. But yeah, it's. But apparently they've been sold for... So long-haired Dachshunds have been sold for up to £4,000.
Wow, a lot of money.
So you can understand why...
I like that picture, that dog in the corner there.
There's
with
just
that
lovely
wicked
pictures, aren't there?
Gingham
Yeah,
coat.
it's very fashionable.
Looking very sharp.
It's
Very
absolutely
photogenic.
apparently.
Absolutely. Oh, there you go. The more you know.
So lovely to have you company this morning. Thanks very much indeed.
Thanks, guys.
The best thing about being a Sky News journalist?